Hey, lovies. Happy October 5th. I think it's Monday morning. Ooh. Holly, how's my hair? Okay, so today we're going to talk more about vendor events. And today's lesson is what to consider before you say yes, sign a contract or anything like that. So while I'm talking, if you like it, give me some hearts so I know I'm not just out there talking to myself. So, very first question I always ask before I sign on the dotted line after I have found some events is, how long have you been doing this event? So, you always want to find out how long they've been doing the event. Is this their first year? It's okay if it's their first year, but there's some other questions that you might have to ask or just kind of dig into with them. So how long have they been doing the event? Because if this is their first year, they're not going to be able to answer a whole lot of these other questions. So you're really going to want to bump up on doing your part to draw some attention and to maybe kind of help coach them. So first year events are not bad, but sometimes they're not the best. So always ask, how long have you been doing this event? All right, then if they say, oh, it's been 3 years, 5 years, whatever, that they're a really established event, you want to ask them what their typical attendance is. What's the draw? How many people are coming through? And typically they keep track of that, so find out what that is. If they have no idea, you might want to ask them if you can talk to some other vendors. Ask if you can talk to other vendors who had spots last year and have already committed to this year. Or ask them how many vendors from last year are coming back. Now, no, we do have quite an attrition rate in direct sales of girls who drop out after a selling season. So a lot of times that's not the vendor events issue, but ask them how many direct sales vendors who are still in the industry who were at their event last year are coming back this year. So ask them that. It's also really important to find out who attends. What's the demographic? Is it a women's night out where they're going to drink wine and get loose with their checkbooks because they've been drinking a couple bottles of wine? Or is it kids? Or is it geared toward animals? There are some pet rescue things. I will tell you, kids and animals take away from the vendor event. So if you're at like a charity thing, find out, are you upstairs on the second floor in a back room? I've been at events where it's been that way, and it's really hard to get traffic your way if all of the activity is going on in another level. If it's a carnival or a festival, or a fundraiser for some other activity, and they've just decided to throw some vendors in almost as a second thought. So find out what's the draw, who's going to be there. Are there going to be a lot of kids, a lot of pets? You know how I feel about kids. No, I love kids, but they're not going to be booking a party or joining your team. All they're going to do is want to play around with your samples. So anyway, find out who's going to be there and what kind of attention you're going to have on your booth. Is it going to be indoors or outdoors? That's always something really important to find. Is it a combination? I've been at some where you can be inside or you can be outside. I always ask to be inside because I want electricity for the most part. And it's oftentimes a lot harder if it's outdoors. So ask that. What type of marketing are they going to do? Are they going to be advertising in the local paper? Are they going to be putting flyers up over town? If they're going to depend on it being word of mouth from the vendors that are going to be there, just get yourself ready to have a whole lot of fun with the other vendors who are going to be there, because that's who's going to be there. So what type of advertising? If it's with a church or for a fundraiser, ask, or a school, ask who's coming from that. A lot of times with some of these organizations, they kind of make it mandatory that those people attend, the events. So find that out. Ask them if they're going to make a Facebook event page. If they're not, tell them to. But a Facebook event page is a really great thing where all the other vendors can add their friends. You can add your friends, people who are local to this area. You can post your link. You might want to be able to post a special and just kind of draw some attention already to Jamberry before you get there. You know, can you advertise, you know, special products, you know, on their Facebook event page? How many vendors are going to be there? That's always a good question. I always want to know, you know, how big is this going to be? How many vendors? You know, there's a really kind of sweet spot for vendors almost. If it's so many, it can be overwhelming and, you know, a lot of people may not get to your booth. And if it's just a few, a lot of people may not even come out because they don't think it's worth it. So find out how many vendors are there. You know, how many have booked and paid for their time to be there? Not just, yes, we'll be there. Find out how many firm confirmations that they have. You want to know if you need to bring a table or if they provide it. Will there be electric? Do you have to pay extra for it? And often now I ask if there's going to be internet or Wi-Fi hookup connection. I like to take orders sometimes on the spot, let people browse around on our workstation. I've signed people up on my team. And yeah, you can do it from your smartphone, but if you can have a tablet or something like that, a lot of times it's fun to have that hooked up. Let's see, of course, how much is it? You know, you want to know what the fee is. You want to know if they have, you know, if they want you to give a percentage of your sales afterwards, if you need to donate a raffle basket, all of those types of things. Find out about that. If they want you to do a door prize, ask if you can get the slips that are put in your particular basket. And unless they're like the number ones, like tear off and keep one. But what you can suggest to them is, why don't you have the people write on the back their name and phone numbers? Because if they're not there, you know, you still want an opportunity to reach out to them. A lot of times the drawings are the people have to be there, so, you know, they're just reading off that number. But, you know, for follow-up purposes, ask them, or ask if you can put a little sign by where they're dropping in, you know, by your donation basket, you know, to please put their name and number on the back or their address, because everyone who does, you're going to follow up and mail a little sample. You can always do that too if you're looking to build up your recruits. Make sure there's only one vendor per company there. You know, it's Jamberry's policy that that there's only one Jamberry Nails rep representing at vendor events. A lot of times these event coordinators, they don't care. They just want their $30, $50 booth fees. So ask them, do you have a policy? Do you already have a Jamberry Nails rep? Because it's really our responsibility to do the due diligence. It's really your responsibility to say, hey, do you already have someone with Jamberry? And then, you know, just find out about their group. If this is a pet rescue thing, you might want to make sure you have a lot of NAS stuff on hand or whatever, but make sure that you know what their group is all about before you go in. So I hope that gives you some ideas of some things to consider before you say yes to a vendor event. So I will be doing part 4 this afternoon, and we're going to be talking about how to prepare for those vendor events. Yes, I will definitely repost. I have a YouTube channel. You can just look me up, Connie Lasita, and everything, this entire series has been posted. And I actually need 500 subscribers on YouTube so that I can change and make my URL. So if you would subscribe, that would be great. So yes, this will definitely be reposted on my YouTube channel. Thank you, Holly. I can't decide if I want to keep growing it or cut it. You know, it's kind of crazy, but I am liking it. Okay, ladies, show me your Monday jams. Well, I really can't see yours, but I've got Veiled on, which is a retired, disoriented, and Diamond Dust Sparkle. So, love you guys. See you this afternoon when we talk about how to prepare. See you later.